The knock startled me from my work. I'd been waiting all day, constantly checking my phone for updates. Finally, I murmured, glancing at the clock, 7:30 p.m. I padded to the door, my silk robe clinging to still damp skin from the shower I just finished. When I opened it, the delivery guy stood there, package in hand, eyes tired but professional. "Ms. Samantha?" His voice was deeper than expected, warm despite the late hour. "That's me." I reached for the package, but he pulled out. His device. "Need a signature first." As I signed, I noticed his gaze drift, just for a second, down the open collar of my robe. My breath caught. He wasn't just tired. There was something else in his expression. When our fingers brushed during the handoff, neither of us pulled away immediately. "Long day?" I asked. Surprising myself, he smiled genuinely this time. "The longest. You're my last delivery." The air between us shifted. I should have thanked him and closed the door. Instead, I heard myself saying, "Would you like some water? You look like you could use a break." Before we jump in, please do me a quick favor. Like this video and hit subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and you'll never miss another story. Now let's continue. He hesitated at the threshold, professional boundaries warring with exhaustion. "I probably shouldn't, just water." I said, though, we both knew that wasn't entirely true. 5 minutes. He stepped inside. I led him to the kitchen, hyper-aware of every movement, every breath. The robe felt suddenly inadequate, yet perfectly intentional. I poured 2 glasses, handed him one. Watched him drink gratefully. "I'm Chris." He offered, setting down the empty glass. "Samantha." I leaned against the counter, studying him properly now. Late 20s, strong hands, eyes that held mine a beat too long. "Nice place," he said, but his attention wasn't on the apartment. "Thanks, I designed it myself." The words felt trivial. Filler for the real conversation happening in glances and shifting postures. He moved closer just slightly. "You're an architect?" I like creating spaces where interesting things can happen." "And what kind of interesting things happen here?" The question hung between us, loaded with possibility. I set down my glass. "Decision made. Depends on who's visiting." The distance between us evaporated. His hand found my waist, tentative at first, then certain when I didn't pull away. My fingers traced up his arm, feeling the strength there. "This is," he started, unexpected. I finished, but not unwelcome. His other hand cupped my face, thumb brushing my cheek. The touch sent warmth spreading through me, pooling low in my stomach. When he leaned in, I met him halfway. The first press of lips was soft questioning. I answered by pressing closer, tasting the faint sweetness of the water on his mouth. His grip tightened, pulling me against him as the kiss deepened. My hands found their way under his uniform shirt, exploring the warm skin beneath. He groaned softly, the sound vibrating through me. The counter pressed against my back as he stepped closer, eliminating any remaining space between us. "Are you sure?" he murmured. Against my neck, his breath hot on my skin. Instead of answering, I guided his hand to where my robe tied at the waist. His fingers worked the knot loose, the silk parting like water. The cool air raised goosebumps across my exposed skin quickly. Chased away by his touch, he lifted me onto the counter in one smooth motion. I wrapped my legs around him, drawing him closer, feeling the evidence of his desire through his uniform. His mouth traced a path down my throat, each kiss sending sparks through my nervous system. Bedroom. I managed to say, though part of me wanted to stay right there. He carried me like I weighed nothing, navigating through my apartment by instinct. In the bedroom, he set me down gently, his hands reverent as they explored my curves. The robe slipped completely off my shoulders, pooling at my feet. I helped him out of his clothes, revealing a body sculpted by physical work. Every unveiled inch made my pulse quicken. When skin met skin, it felt electric, inevitable. He laid me back on the bed, taking his time, mapping my body with hands and mouth. Each touch built the tension higher, a slow burn that threatened to consume me. When he settled between my thighs, I arched into him, ready for more. What followed was a dance of give and take, of building pressure and sweet release. He moved with surprising intuition, reading my responses, adjusting his rhythm to match my needs. The room filled with soft sounds, breathing, whispered encouragements. The subtle music of bodies in harmony. I lost track of time, lost in sensation, in the unexpected perfection of this moment. When the first wave crashed over me, I gripped his shoulders, riding it out as he continued his steady rhythm. He followed. Soon after, my name on his lips like a prayer, we lay tangled afterward, catching our breath. His fingers traced lazy patterns on my skin, sending aftershocks through my system. So, he said eventually, voice rough with satisfaction, "Do all your deliveries end like this?" I laughed, the sound low and content. First time. Though I might need to order more packages. He pulled me closer, pressing a kiss to my temple. I could adjust my route. We stayed like that, talking softly between kisses, learning each other in the afterglow. Eventually, reluctantly, he had to leave. His shift technically over hours ago. At the door, he turned back. "Same time tomorrow? I'll leave the light on." As I watched him go, I realized the package that had started it all still sat unopened on my kitchen counter. Somehow, I didn't mind the wait anymore. The next evening, I found myself checking the clock repeatedly, 7:15, 7:20. At 7:25, I gave up pretending to work and headed for the shower. This time, I chose my robe deliberately. Silk again, but deep blue shorter. The knock came at 7:35. My heart raced as I opened the door. Chris stood there, no package this time, just himself. His eyes darkened when he saw me. "Special delivery?" I asked, trying for casual and missing by miles, something like that. He stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. This time we skipped the pretense of water. His hands found me, immediately pulling me against him for a kiss that picked up exactly where we'd left off. The robe lasted approximately 30 seconds before hitting the floor. "Missed you," he murmured against my skin, backing me toward the bedroom. "It's been one day." I laughed, but my hands were already working at his clothes. Longest day ever. We fell onto the bed, urgency replacing yesterday's tentative exploration. He knew my body, now knew exactly where to touch, how to move. I responded in kind, drawing sounds from him that made me feel powerful, desired. When he entered me this time, it felt like coming home. We moved together with newfound familiarity, chasing pleasure with single-minded focus. He whispered things that made me blush and arch closer, my nails leaving marks on his back. The intensity built faster this time, cresting in waves that left us both breathless and trembling. We didn't talk much afterward, content to exist in the warm bubble of satisfaction, but as he prepared to leave again, reality crept in. "This is crazy," I said, watching him dress. "We barely know each other." He paused, came back to sit beside me. "Maybe does it feel wrong to you?" I considered, then shook my head. "No, it feels right. Inevitable." "Then let's see where it goes." He kissed me softly. No pressure, no expectations. Just this. Over the following weeks, our evening meetings became ritual. Sometimes he actually had packages to deliver. I may have increased my online shopping considerably. Other times, he simply showed up. After his shift, tired but eager. We learned each other in increments, how he'd started the delivery job to pay for night school, how I'd rebuilt my life after divorce, throwing myself into work until I'd forgotten how to want anything else, how we both craved connection but had been too busy or scared to seek it. The physical component remained intense, exploratory. Some nights were slow and tender, mapping each other with deliberate care. Others were urgent, desperate, leaving marks and memories that lasted days. One evening he arrived looking particularly worn. I drew him a bath, joining him in the warm water, washing away the day's stress with gentle hands. "You don't have to take care of me," he said, but his eyes were closed in bliss. "I want to." I traced the tension from his shoulders, feeling him relax beneath my touch. "You take care of me too." It was true. Beyond the physical release, he'd awakened something in me. A hunger for life I'd suppressed for too long. I found myself humming at work, smiling at strangers, feeling possibility in the air. When we made love that night, it was different, deeper. His eyes held mine throughout, saying things we weren't ready to voice. I came apart in his arms, feeling safe. Cherished, alive, 3. Months in, he used his key for the first time. A key I'd given him for convenience, though we both knew it meant more. I was cooking dinner when he arrived, coming up behind me to wrap his arms around my waist. "Smells amazing," he murmured. Into my hair. "It's just pasta." But I leaned back into him, savoring the domestic intimacy. "I meant you." I turned in his arms, spatula still in hand. Charmer, truth teller. He kissed me slow and deep, dinner temporarily forgotten. Later tangled. In sheets that smelled like us, he traced patterns on my bare back. I quit the delivery job. I lifted my head from his chest. "What? Why?" Got accepted to the engineering program full-time. He looked nervous suddenly. "It means I won't be in the neighborhood as much." The words hit harder than expected. Our whole relationship had been built on these stolen evening moments, his roots bringing him to my door. Without that, "Hey." He tilted my chin up. "This doesn't change anything. We'll figure it out." "Will we?" The vulnerability in my voice surprised me. "Sam." He sat up, pulling me with him. "These past months, you're not just convenient. You're not just on my route. You're becoming my route, my destination." My heart stuttered. "Chris." "I know we started unconventionally, but this is real for me. Tell me it's real for you too." Instead of words, I showed him, kissing him with everything I felt, every fear and hope and growing certainty. We made love again, slower this time, cementing promises in touch and breath and the spaces between heartbeats. When I woke the next morning, he was still there, not rushing off to early deliveries, just watching me with soft eyes. "Morning," he said, pulling me closer. "Morning." I traced his jaw, still amazed he was real. "So engineering school starts next month." His hand found mine, interlacing our fingers. "I was thinking my apartment's closer to campus, but yours is nicer and has better memories." "Are you asking to move in?" "I'm asking what you want, where this goes next." I considered all the ways this could complicate things, how fast we were moving, how little we still knew about each other, how none of that seemed to matter. When he looked at me like I was his whole world, "I want you here." I said, finally, not just passing through, not just delivering packages. Here with me, building something. His smile lit up the room. "I love you." The words hung between us, unexpected, but not unwelcome. I touched his face, feeling the truth of it, the rightness. "I love you too." 6 months later, I stood in our kitchen now, watching him study at the table, engineering textbooks spread everywhere, empty coffee, cups standing sentinel. He looked up, caught me staring. "What?" "Just thinking." I moved behind him, massaging his shoulders, about unexpected deliveries. Best tip I ever got." I laughed, bending to kiss his neck. "I don't know, you haven't seen tonight's tip yet." He spun the chair around, pulling me onto his lap. "Is that so?" Very special delivery signature required." His hands found their favorite spots, making me shiver despite the familiar touch. "Where do I sign?" I showed him, with hands and lips and promises written in pleasure. On the kitchen counter where it all began, against the wall in the hallway. Finally, in our bed where urgent need gave way to something deeper. After lying breathless and sated, he traced hearts on my hip. "You know what I realized?" he said. "What's that?" "That first night, I wasn't delivering the package, I was being delivered to you." I rolled my eyes at the cheesiness but couldn't fight the smile. "That's terrible, but true." He pulled me closer. "Best wrong address ever." It wasn't wrong. I corrected, settling into his warmth, just delayed until exactly the right time. He hummed agreement, already drifting toward sleep. I stayed awake longer, marveling at how one impulsive invitation had reshaped everything, how a simple signature had signed us both over to something neither of us had been looking for, but both desperately needed, outside. I heard a delivery truck rumble past. I smiled, grateful. For every package that had led to this moment, for timing and chance and the courage to open the door to possibilities, for special deliveries that arrive exactly when they're meant to. The next morning brought another package, one I'd actually ordered this time. When the doorbell rang, Chris answered, accepting it from a young delivery driver who looked exhausted. "Long day?" Chris asked, echoing the words I'd used months ago. The kid nodded. "Last delivery." I watched from the hallway. As Chris glanced back at me, eyebrow raised in question, I shrugged, smiling. "Some patterns were worth repeating. Want some water?" Chris offered. "You look like you could use a break." The driver hesitated, then shook his head. "Thanks, but I better get going. Girlfriend's waiting." After he left, Chris closed the door and pulled me close. "Were you going to corrupt another innocent delivery person?" "Hardly innocent." I protested, and I wasn't planning anything, though I traced his chest. "You did look awfully cute being all hospitable." "Cute?" He backed me against the wall, eyes darkening. "I'll show you cute." What followed was a thorough reminder of why I only needed one delivery man in my life against the wall. On the stairs, finally collapsing onto the couch in a tangle of limbs and laughter. "So," he panted afterward, "what was in the package?" I grinned. "Your birthday present. Early." His eyes lit up. "Really? What is it?" "Patience. Your birthdays?" "Not for 2 weeks. Sam." He gave me his best pleading look. "Nope. Good things come to those who wait. Haven't I waited long enough? 30 years of birthdays without you." The sweetness caught me off guard as it always did when he switched. From playful to profound, I kissed him softly. "Fine. But you have to close your eyes." He obeyed immediately. I retrieved the small box, placed it in his hands. "Okay. Open." Inside lay a key, not like the apartment key I'd given him months ago. This one was older, more ornate. "What's this to?" he asked, turning it over. "The cabin. You know, the one I designed up north? I bought it. For us. For weekends and holidays and whenever we need to escape." His eyes widened. "Sam, that's huge. Is it too much? Too fast? I know we've only been..." He silenced me with a kiss that left no doubt about his feelings. When we broke apart, he was grinning. "It's perfect. You're perfect. God, I love you." "I love you too." I settled against him, feeling the rightness of it all. "So weekend trip to break it in?" "Absolutely. Though break it in might be literal if we're not careful." I laughed, already imagining the possibilities. A whole house. To explore together, to make ours in every sense. That weekend we drove north, the city falling away behind us. The cabin sat nestled among pines, even more beautiful than my sketches had suggested. Chris insisted on carrying me over the threshold, despite my protests. "Tradition," he said firmly, setting me down inside. "We're not married." I pointed out, "Yet." The word hung there, full of promise. We spent the weekend christening every room, every surface. The kitchen counter, a tradition now. The thick rug before the fireplace, the surprisingly sturdy desk in my office. But it was in the bedroom, with moonlight streaming through skylights I'd specifically designed for stargazing, that something shifted again. "Move in with me," he said suddenly, still breathless from our latest exploration. "I what? You already live with me." "No, I mean officially. Let's stop pretending I still have my old apartment. Let's make it real. All of it." I propped myself up on an elbow. "Are you proposing?" "I'm pre-proposing. Proposing cohabitation, with intent to propose properly when the time's right." "Lawyer." I teased, but my heart was racing. "Say yes," he urged, "to all of it, to whatever comes next." Looking at him there, earnest and hopeful in our bed in our cabin, I couldn't imagine saying anything else. Yes. To all of it. The actual proposal came 3 months later, in the most perfectly imperfect way. I'd had the worst day. A client had rejected months of work, my car had broken down, and I'd spilled coffee all over my favorite dress. I trudged into our apartment, ready to collapse, only to find Chris in the kitchen wearing my apron and covered in flour. "Don't ask," he said, surveying the disaster zone around. Him. I was trying to make that pasta thing you like. What happened? Turns out cooking is harder than engineering. He looked so dejected I had to laugh. It's okay. We can order in. No, wait. He grabbed my hand as I reached for my phone. I had this whole planned dinner candles. The works. Chris, it's fine. Today's been disaster enough without. Marry me. The words stopped me cold. What? He dropped to one knee right there amid flower footprints and burnt garlic. I had a speech. About how you opened your door that night and opened my whole world, about how every delivery led me to you. But honestly, I just want to marry you. Now tomorrow. Whenever you'll have me. He pulled out a ring, not from a fancy box, but from his pocket, slightly flowery but unmistakably perfect. You're proposing in a destroyed kitchen? I'm proposing in our home where we built this. Where I fell in love with you covered in pasta sauce that one time, and where you dance while doing dishes, and where I want to spend every messy, imperfect, beautiful moment. Tears I didn't know were coming spilled over. Yes, of course, yes. He slipped the ring on, it fit perfectly. Despite the flower, when he stood to kiss me, we knocked over, a bowl of something adding to the chaos. Neither of us cared that night after we'd cleaned up and ordered Thai food. We made love with the weight of forever settling around us like a comfortable blanket. Every touch felt like a promise, every kiss a vow. The wedding was small, intimate, in the cabin, of course, with twinkle lights strung through the pines, and our closest friends gathered around. Chris's vows made everyone cry. You taught me that the best things in life arrive unexpectedly, that sometimes getting lost leads you exactly where you need to be. You were never just an address on my route. You were my destination all along. Mine were simpler but no less true. You delivered yourself to my door one ordinary Tuesday and made every day since extraordinary. I promise to always sign for your packages, to be your last stop and your first thought, your home base and your adventure. I love you beyond words, beyond time, beyond reason. Our first dance was to no music, at all, just swaying together under the stars while our guests chatted quietly. Perfect in its imperfection, like everything about us. So, Chris murmured, happy with your delivery? I laughed against his shoulder. 5 stars would definitely. Order again. Good thing I offer lifetime service. With benefits? Oh, the best benefits. He spun me slowly. Want me to show you? Later, I promised we have a lifetime, remember? But later came sooner than expected. We snuck away during the reception, giggling like teenagers finding a secluded spot where moonlight filtered through leaves. Against an oak tree older than both of us combined, we consummated our marriage with urgent whispers and stifled moans. The bark rough against my dress, his hands everywhere at once. Someone will notice we're gone. I gasped as he lifted me, wrapping my legs around him. Let them. He kissed my neck, finding that spot that always made me melt. I need my wife. Wife. The word sent a shiver through me that had nothing to do with the cool night air. I pulled him closer, deeper, lost in the perfection of this moment. Married to my unexpected delivery, my perfect mistake, my everything. Walking back to the reception later disheveled. But glowing, we found knowing smiles and gentle teasing. But mostly we found love. The same love that had brought us together, that had built this life moment by moment, choice by choice. Years later, when people asked how we met, we'd share. A look and smile. He delivered a package, I'd say simply, and never left. He'd add, squeezing my hand. It was true in all the ways that mattered. He'd delivered himself to my door one ordinary evening and changed everything. Some deliveries were worth the wait. Some signatures changed your life, and some packages contained exactly what you didn't know you were desperately waiting for. Love, unexpected and perfect, arriving right on time. Looking back, I wouldn't change a moment. Not the impulsive invitation, not the risky beginning, not the way we crashed into each other's lives and refused to untangle. The best things often came in unexpected packages delivered when you least expected them, by people who became your whole world. That Tuesday night, I'd signed for more than a package. I'd signed for a future, a love story, a lifetime of deliberate joy and accidental perfection. Best delivery ever. No returns necessary. Sometimes love arrived in uniform, tired from a long day, needing just a glass of water and finding so much more. Sometimes it knocked on your door when you were barely dressed and completely unprepared and changed everything with a simple signature. Sometimes the most important deliveries came not in boxes, but in the form of people who stayed long after their shift ended, who made your address their favorite stop, who turned a routine delivery into the beginning of forever, 5 stars. Would recommend to anyone, handle with care, contents. Precious, beyond measure life-changing delivery. Arrived just in time, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. What started as a signature on a screen became a signature on a marriage certificate, proof that the universe had a wicked sense of humor and perfect timing. That sometimes what you were waiting for all day was just the beginning of what you'd been waiting for all your life. Package delivered contents. 1 perfect love. No assembly required, batteries included, satisfaction guaranteed forever, and always signed for and cherished. The delivery that never stopped giving, that turned a random Tuesday into the first day of everything else. Special handling required, fragile but unbreakable, sent with love and received with open arms. Best delivery ever. And to think it all started with a knock at the door, a signature request, and the best impulsive decision I ever made. Would you like some water? You look like you could use a break. Who knew those simple words would be the beginning of everything? Who knew a delivery uniform could contain the love of my life? Who knew that signing for a package would mean signing up for a lifetime of joy? But that's the thing about the best deliveries. They arrive exactly when they're supposed to, carrying more than you ordered, worth more than you paid, changing more than you expected. Sometimes love came in a brown uniform with tired eyes and a gentle smile. Sometimes it knocked on your door at the end of a long day when you were least prepared and most ready. Sometimes the most valuable packages came with a simple request. Just a signature, just a moment, just a glass of water, and sometimes, if you were very lucky, they never left. Looking at Chris now years later, still making me laugh, still making me weak, still delivering joy to my door every single day, I knew the truth. Some packages were worth waiting for. Some signatures changed everything, and some deliveries were meant to last forever. The end? Not even close. Just another beginning, another day in a life built on perfect timing and imperfect moments, on deliveries and departures, on signatures and promises, on love that arrived unexpected and stayed forever. Best wrong address that was absolutely right. Best delayed package that arrived exactly on time. Best signature I ever gave, binding me, not just to receive, but to keep, to cherish, to love. Some stories ended with happily ever after. Ours continued with handling with care, day after perfect imperfect day. The delivery required a signature, I gave him my heart instead. Tracking status, delivered, received, cherished forever. Some thoughts stay locked away forever, but what if the best ones are meant to come true? Have you ever had an unexpected encounter that changed your entire life? What happened when you took that leap? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one and I want to know. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe. It's free, takes a second, and make sure you never miss the next story. Turn on the notification bell so you're the first to know when a new one drops. If you enjoyed this, share it with someone who'd love it too. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.